Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to another Crypto Maniacs podcast. We are streaming for your viewing and listening pleasure. I'm going to use little bunny ears when I say pleasure. On Vim, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. No, we're not on Facebook. What am I talking about? We're on all these Web 2 things because, yay, Web 2. Task, how you doing, man? How's been the 48 hours since we last spoke? I'm guessing you sold all your Hive and you're exiting.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I sold my Hive, I sold my Leo, I sold my STEM, I sold my
Perfect.
CTP, I sold my Tesla, I sold my mother, I sold everything.
Perfect.
Liquidation sale.
Perfect. Did you get a deep discount for it all, or did you try to sell it at the top of the market price here?
Oh yeah, I Bollinger Band right at the top.
Bollinger Band. Could that be a verb? Bollinger banding into things, or no? I guess
If Google can be a noun, a verb, an adverb, sure, why not? I mean,
sure, yeah. So before we get going, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping. Had a note from our good buddy Guilty Parties, who was actually doing a Hive delegation for the amazing 3-year anniversary, and it's out there on Twitter. He was doing a Hive chat earlier this week, and basically said, answer this Hive chat question within the next 12 hours. And be entered into a raffle to win 5,000 HP delegation for the month of April. Don't forget to drop your Hive username in. So what we're going to do before we get into this, if you're watching the video of this, you'll be able to see that I'm not pulling a fast one here because I'm going to share my screen on the video and do the countdown. Now, this is going to be kind of impromptu because we're going to have to pick a number between 1 and 50, let's say. I'm just going to throw that number out there. And then within that, I'm going to have to count down from the top to wherever we get to. So basically what we're going to do is I'm going to give...
Wait. If it's between 1 and 50...
Well, not 50, because there's 46.
Well, okay,
entries.
If there's 46, if the number's 43, why don't you count off from the bottom?
Well, that could be cheating. I mean, I don't know. I was just gonna count because there's a lot of people that commented more than once, so I just want to make sure I'm getting it properly. Does that make sense? Or
that makes sense. You're in charge.
Yes,
you're in charge.
Hello, Lisa. Welcome. Okay, so let me share with you guys the screen if you're watching this live. Here we go. But we're gonna try it. We're gonna see what happens here. We're gonna see what happens. And let me see. Did it show up there? Okay, it showed up. So let me put us to the side. Okay, so this is the tweet here. And basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a number. Task is gonna pick a random number. I don't know what the number is. And he is going to, and I'm gonna basically count from the top to whatever number he picks randomly, and I'm just going to make sure I don't get any double names, and if there's double entries, and make sure that they followed what Hive blocks Guilty was looking for there. So does that make sense, Task? You ready to rock?
Makes sense.
So give me a number between 1 and 46, please and thank you.
27.
27. Okay, so I'm going to write down. It's not that I need to write it down, but I'm putting it down. 27. Okay, so we're going to have to do this. This is, if you're listening to the podcast, bear with us. We will get to content. Right now we're doing giveaways. 5,000 Hive power to one lucky Hivian or Hive or whatever. I still don't know what the heck we call ourselves. Hive member.
Whoever's sitting at number 27.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got our good friend E-Podcaster here, but see, she didn't put her Hive username. So that doesn't count, I'm guessing, right? Would you agree, Task, or no?
I would agree. He said you put down your username, so I don't know. It's not my game. Yep. I was just told to pick a number. I did.
And Tracy obviously is not taking part. She's part of the giveaway, so she's not there. I'm looking for numbers here. I don't see any usernames. I'm looking for usernames. We're looking for 27. Okay, so we got our first one here, 1, but she did it twice. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. So we have Spiro Samuel. So the username is right there, Spiro Samuel 15. And I'm going to keep that open so we count it down. Now, again, just saying, if that wasn't scientifically chosen, it's because I had to count live there while we were doing this. But 27 was the number that Task picked. So Spiro Samuel, congratulations.
Congratulations, Spiro Samuel, wherever and whomever you might be.
Exactly.
Enjoy the 5,000 high-powered delegation from, I guess, from Guilty Parties, or maybe from, I don't even know who it's from. But
yeah. Congratulations. So that's cool, man. Fun news, because last time we were doing this was just after the 3-year anniversary of this glorious blockchain. Then news broke yesterday or the day before, something like that Justin Sun was getting in trouble with the SEC, and I was like, wouldn't that have been poetic justice, almost perfect timing, if that happened on March 20th? Would that have been good?
That would have been the forces of the universe lining up.
What's going on, man? I mean, this is, I guess, the biggest.
I don't know, honestly, and I'm certainly no Justy Boy fan.
Right.
Fan of Sonny Boy, but I saw the headline linked with Lindsay Lohan, right. And in this instance, I will defend Son, like with Lindsay Lohan, like with the rest of them. You know, we have an SEC in the United States where Gary Gensler should be tarred, feathered, branded and beaten and run over by a bus. Because
how do you really feel?
Listen, I mean, the idea of suing these paid promoters is just absolute bullshit. Are you going to start suing actors and actresses on TV for General Motor, car crashes? Are you going to start suing them for pharmaceutical ODs? Are you going to start suing them, if Century 21 starts ripping people off?
Right.
The simple fact of the matter is, these paid promoters, celebrities, now there's, and I don't know, I may be mistaken. Maybe they were just named together in an article and they're suing Son for something different than they're suing Lindsay Lohan, which then certainly could be the case because right. Son could be more than just a promoter. But if he is being sued like the rest of them, and I forget who else was caught up in that, a bunch of people. And it's
Jake Paul or whatever, too.
What?
Jake Paul, I think, was in it, too.
Yeah, one of the Kardashians. And again, I'm not one to defend the Kardashians, but one of the Kardashians was mixed up in it. And it's like, what are you, a fucking idiot, Gensler? I mean, these are just paid celebrities. And, you're going to find that nobody's going to endorse anything. And, were some of these things scams? Yeah. What are you going to start suing the people who did the ads for Silicon Valley Bank? You're going to start suing the people who did the ads for FTX? Where does it stop? If a company goes bankrupt, are the promoters liable for that because people lost money?
Well,
You
the
know,
BitConnect guys got into a lot of trouble, right? Like the guys that were heavy promoters of BitConnect, like didn't they like that being said, Trevon James is still out on Twitter doing his thing, right? I
I,
mean, like I don't think he got too
I don't
slapped.
know. Yeah, I don't know where they drew that line. A lot of those people, see, a lot of it comes from, and this is where Sun might be different.
Right,
What was their profit? Were they just a paid promoter here? Here's a check, go promote it.
right,
Were they given a portion of the profits? Were they given stake in it? Those are all questions that start to come up, which that takes it on a different variable. So if I'm a paid promoter, but you're giving me 10 or 15% of the enterprise and it's a scam, it's a fraud, well, then I have ownership in a fraud. If you just send me a check for $50,000 to tweet something out, because I got 25 million Twitter followers or whatever, I think that's something totally different. So I don't know. I didn't read through what they're accusing Son of. As I said, I'm no defender of them, and the laundry list of shit you can hit them with
right.
is long. But if they're just hitting him because of his marketing and his promotion of stuff, this is where Gensler's going over the line. If they're hitting him with other stuff, well, that's probably warranted.
Right. Well, it kind of it opens up because that was just the tip of the iceberg. Because then Do Kwon was arrested this morning. Coinbase is under SEC investigation yesterday. It just seems to be this gauntlet attack now, and I know we're not conspiracy theorists and this and that and third, but I don't think it would take a brainiac here to kind of figure this out, that this is the powers that be going after something that shakes the legacy systems.
Hmm.
Um, Listen, I'm no fan of Justin. I'm no fan of Coinbase. The stuff they have in Coinbase is just like pathetic garbage tokens and just like spew coming out of your mouth of what they have in there. So I'm no fan of these guys. I don't know anything about Terra Luna at all, other than it was a big deal last year. Like that, I don't know. I don't have a dog in the fight, but I do think, and I'd love to hear what you think of this. I do think this is the powers that be saying this stuff has the potential to shake the legacy systems that we've made a killing over the past couple of 100 years at. We're going to do everything we can to stop it or slow it down.
Yeah, I think it's evident the U.S. government is going after the on ramps and off ramps. I think that's pretty obvious. They're doing the same thing they did to guns and cannabis and some of these other industries, where they're saying even though it's legal, it's illegal for the banks to deal with you, or it's strongly suggested you don't deal with them. I don't know the level of fraud that Do Kwon faces. I don't know the circumstance there, and certainly I don't know South Korean law, so I can't really speak there. The problem with a lot of this, John, you got two things going on. Yes, I do agree with you. I think there is a pointed attack at cryptocurrency,
Mm-hmm.
but there's also the nanny state. You have, and we've seen it. We've mentioned
Yep.
these
Yep.
people who are suing and complaining because they got ripped off. Well, as I've said on here, I have never bought anything where I wasn't the one pushing the buy button.
Right.
So, you bought a shit token or you bought a fraud.
Right.
What the fuck? Who bought it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was misled by Kim Kardashian. You think you're buying cryptocurrency based on Kim Kardashian? Good. You deserve to lose your fucking money, you asshole. I mean, come on. So,
You're taking financial advice from someone who basically
or
was born into wealth.
yeah, or
Right.
John McAfee.
Yeah.
Look at, I mean, he's dead now, but look at the fucking guy. Did he seem like he was a guy who was tightly wrapped? And, It's like they always say, do your own due diligence. I mean, if you can't
Yeah,
figure
yeah,
this shit out on your own, go buy a CD, you know, and hope that the counterparty doesn't fuck you on it.
right,
You
right.
know, it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's just like when people complain about shit in cryptocurrency, and it's like, well, who bought it? Tough shit. Oh, I bought this. Leo went down. So is it done? No. Well, then shut the hell up. And who bought it? You did.
Yeah,
You know, I can write all the articles I want. Why I think Leo or Hive or CTP or ABC token is great. Who the hell buys it? If you buy it, that's on you, not on
yeah.
me, not on Kim Kardashian or you know
Because this is the, like you
Brad
said,
Pitt or any of these people.
it's the nanny state. Like you said, we hate taking responsibility for our own decisions.
Yeah.
You know, like this here, like, you know, I'll be completely transparent. We've talked about it, but I exited Splinterlands the past couple of months. I had an opportunity to sell the stuff. I made a little bit of money, but nowhere what I would have made if I sold this time last year. I would have had 5 times what I got. Now, am I like, oh, woe is me? No, I made the decision. Do I think Splinterlands is going to go up in the future? Probably. I had to be okay with that decision to either stay in or just exit and not have this. You have to be okay with the decisions you make in life. Now,
Mhm.
in this, like you're saying, in the nanny state, it's like, oh, well, I sold and it went up, so they scam me. No, you just
Mhm.
you press the button. You either sold or you bought. And
Mhm.
we are cuddled and put into these bubble wraps in society, especially in crypto, where we're grown adults, but we still want to be like our hand being held.
Well, we're fucking geniuses when we buy something and it moons, but then
So yeah,
when it goes down, it's like, oh, we want to blame somebody. It's like,
exactly.
you
Yeah.
know, sorry, it doesn't work that way. It's if you have, and it's like we talk about. Well, you people who could get in at Hive at 8 cents were lucky.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I remember, when it was steaming. Oh, all those people got in with 7 cents. It was lucky. They
Yeah.
were lucky, because at that time it was like a buck. Um, what happened? Well, it went back down to like 10 cents. Were people who were calling those others lucky buying hand over fist? No, of course not. It was like takes balls to buy when shit's dropped 90, 95%.
Right.
And it's not easy. So if you have the internal emotional abilities to buy when there's a train wreck happening, those are the ones who make the big money, and it's not easy. And that's why you know anybody who can enter these markets, the problem is most people don't belong in the markets because it's like they think it should only go up, and it's like, no, losing money is part of the deal. You know, there is no successful investor who has not lost money hand over fist. I remember, oh shit, this is probably 25, 28 years ago. I was talking to a guy. He said, you know what? I don't mind losing money. He goes, I've lost tons of money. He goes, I hate having it taken from me. That's the difference. And so he was always aware of what the scams were and where scams were. But, you get involved in business, you get involved in investing, you get involved in markets, you can lose money. I mean, people open up businesses and lose their shirts. That's just part of being an entrepreneur, that's what
Yeah.
risk is. You want something that's risk free? Go buy a fucking 10-year treasury bond. Hold it till duration, hold it for 10 years. Uh, be illiquid, unlike Silicon National Bank could be, or Silicon Valley Bank could be. And you buy it for 10 grand, you get $375 a year. So you'll have 13,750 after 10 years
Yeah.
guaranteed, unless the US government, doesn't pay on them, which right now they can Ponzi it, so it's not even a problem there.
Mm.
Outside of that, good luck to you. I mean, everything has a risk. Tesla has a risk. Bonds have a risk. You know,
I,
that's what.
it's I would just, you mentioned entrepreneurship, and this is a lesson that we've taught in CTP for a decade plus. Being an entrepreneur is, there's no guarantees. I mean, it's funny. Lisa's in chat right now, and Vim and her and I were talking about this earlier with in our Discord at CTP, and she, we were talking about how this stuff you have the best chance at success if you do all of these things. No guarantee. And an entrepreneur will work not 40 hours a week, but potentially 80 hours a week sometimes. And they're not guaranteed a paycheck at the end of that. They are calculating that risk and investment of their time so that they potentially can get rewarded down the road. And for whatever reason, we don't have that mentality in crypto. And it comes back to your point about we need more entrepreneurs in crypto. Well, we need people that have that mindset where it's like, you know what? I might lose, but long term, I'm going to win because this is a calculated risk. And to me, this makes sense. But nanny states, are kind of stopping that. So, yeah.
Well, it depends on. You're right, but it depends on how you're looking at. Well, I guess how you're looking at it depends on your time frame.
Right.
If you're looking at anything that we usually talk about, CTP, Hive, Leo, as the coin, the token, and pricing and the markets and investment, that's one thing. But if you're looking at it as a business, and my stake is effectively a piece of this ecosystem, this platform, this whatever you want to call it. So by my CTP that I'm holding, I have a piece of all that's happening, all that's being built, the different applications, the shit Blaine's doing, the network effect, the marketing, all of that, the branding. That takes time. I mean, if forget crypto, and I said throw crypto out the window. See, you can throw CTP, the tokenization away. You can throw Leo, the tokenization away. And what do you get? You still get a team that's trying to build businesses and trying to build a business and trying to build different facets to a business, feeder systems, marketing, revenue streams, all that stuff. And that's the difference. Now, the token is enhancing it. The token makes it Web3 instead of Web2. But you could do the same shit with CT. In fact, you did do the same shit with CTP on Web2. You could do the same thing with Leo on Web2 to a degree. The incentive structure is different, but you could do it. That's what requires entrepreneurs. That requires, and not only of the project team leaders, it requires it of the people involved. And quite frankly, CTP should be it should be the leading project on Hive, because by definition, everybody who's involved in CTP should be a damn entrepreneur. Right. But as we've said, and here's something that I'll bring up. And you and I talked about it a little bit the other night off air. CTPX. How many people are involved in CTP, involved in Hive, who are very active on there? And what have they put up? They put up the same lead generating marketing, affiliate marketing, 10-year-old bullshit that's been in that industry for 2 decades. Do they put up their Hive post? Do they put up, the CTP talk post or the Alpha Leo post or, whatever else up there? Do they put up a CTP, feed for their speak video? No, they're putting up, click through this and, the best lead generation or whatever the hell it is, MLM, network marketing, all this wonderful stuff. And it's like, what are you? I mean, are you stuck in a time warp? And I could see the people who aren't on Hive. Okay, that's all they know. But what about the people on Hive? It's like, have you not figured out yet that this is something totally different? I mean, that's
what talking to CTPX. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we have certain pages in rotation where we're trying to encourage people to put their CTP talk posts out, because if they're tagging CTP, it's going to show on CTP talk. And we're pretty liberal with what we allow on CTP Talk. We're not one of those hardcore
Yeah.
like, oh, this has got to be professionally written entrepreneurship only. Like, it's no, we want you guys, if you have passion on something you're talking about, we want it on CTP. So we're trying to do things like that, but I think it comes from what you mentioned last Tuesday. You actually mentioned this when we launched Listeners, and it's now you can use these platforms and get rewarded, not the result. So promoting a squeeze page to try to generate leads, if you want to do it, sure, whatever. That's part of the marketing thing. Build your list, build your brand. I get it. But you can be building your brand inside of Hive, which is a true Web3 community. Plus, you can get rewarded in CTP tokens. You can get upvotes from the community. There's so many different things you can do inside of CTPX, where if you do get someone that joins your program that you're building or promoting, it's like a bonus, because that's like, you weren't expecting it. You were expecting to get some upvotes. You were expecting to get some engagement. That's the part of the journey that you're going to get rewarded from. So I think that'll happen. I just think that it's still a scary thing for a lot of people. And I'm looking at Vim here and Morton. Actually, hard to pledge into something when you're unsure of paying the bills. That again is kind of, I'll put it into that context. It's like, well, I've been told that this is the way to do things for so many years, and I've gotten results in the past, but to jump into something brand new, I kind of want to tiptoe into it. I don't want to go full head steam. So I think it's going to take time. I think that people will get it, and they will start blogging more. They will start engaging more on threads. They will start getting out there more. But I just think it's going to have to take time for yeah, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying you leave what you're doing, but I can tell you, I've done a lot of exploring, and I would say that appears on my explores, maybe half a dozen pages of, whether it's like it to, whether it's CTP Talk or whatever, and everything else is, well, Taskmaster recommends, and all these lead things, and all this other stuff, and it's like, you're not going to get. I mean, if you haven't been getting a tremendous amount of success from that path all these years, why do you think there's going to be any different? And when you mentioned you mentioned building a brand, and I'm not going to like break my arm, pat myself on the back, but I'm a brand. I showed up at Hive or Steam 5.5 years ago, no following, no affiliate marketing experience, no social media presence. I wasn't on Twitter. I didn't have a YouTube channel. I didn't do any of this shit. I showed up bare zero, no money. I mean, I bought a little bit, a few $100, maybe 500, $1,000 to start of Steam at the time. But I started basically like most at zero, and just did a lot of grinding. As I told you, I was going back through old posts, and I went back through D Hens, which was the original.
They call me Dan's account. Yeah.
And you know what? This guy was not a screaming success in the early days either. He was writing about different things, trying to find his niche. He was all over the place. And I can tell you, you go look at the D Hands account and go look at those early rewards. He had a lot of zeros, a few cents here, a few cents there. And it took him a long time to get going. It does. So, when you start to think about that, what do we do, John? We just show up each day. We spread ourselves around. We make sure people know us. We started this broadcast. That's how you get known. And we invited people onto the show, and we reached out to the Block Trades of the world and the Hoes of the world, and They Call Me Dans, and the Starkers, and the Archange, and all these different people we've reached out to, Marky and Raymond Speaks, and inviting them on. And, for the most part, they've said yes. We've had a few who said no. That's what it takes.
You know what's funny? Yeah.
You know, I've never turned down anybody who's asked me to interview to do an interview about Hive, and I've never asked for. Well, I had one guy who said, "I'll say you're a beneficiary." I said, "Don't. No, you keep the rewards. Whatever rewards you
Mm,
get, that's on your account.
mm,
Keep them. That's fine." Um, I've never asked that of anybody who's asked me to appear on
mhm.
something. It's like, fine, do it if I can help out. Wonderful.
It's funny you mentioned that. We're kind of tying this into entrepreneurship. One of the things back in the day, the internet marketing world was filled with, oh, I have the secret to success. Just buy my $47
Mm,
product. One
yeah.
of the pieces of advice though that went severely overlooked, and it wasn't, you didn't have to buy anything from anyone to get this advice. You literally just had to observe people, and you had to basically pay attention and do it. And that was actually going to the live events and taking, back then we didn't have cell phones. We had little handheld recorders, and we'd sit there, or we had someone with a tripod, and you'd interview the guys and gals that were above you, the guys and gals that were a success. That was how a lot of these new marketers and new brands started building their reputation. They just went to all of these events and started interviewing people. And I'm not trying to tie it into
Yeah, and
cryptomaniacs, but
then you show up at the different seminars, and they're all showing up at each other's seminars and giving speeches, and probably, okay, whatever
yeah,
products you sell at my seminar, I get 25% of, or
exactly.
whatever.
We're not talking
I'll give you the updated. I'll give you the updated version of that, because I have direct knowledge of this. It's no secret I'm big on Tesla, and so I go through the different YouTube channels, and I call it the circle
yeah.
jerk. And it's the same thing. They all have their own YouTube channels, and they all support each other, and they interview each other, and they bring each other on. And so collectively they keep increasing and sharing the subscribers. And it's like all of a sudden, like, there's somebody who's a nobody, and next thing you know, they'll appear on two or three other channels, and next thing you know, they're one of the main
Right.
players. And it's like, doesn't mean what they're saying is worth a damn, but they just use that very effectively. And it's the same type of
Mm,
thing. They just all start circle jerking each other. And I'm sure it's not only with Tesla. I'm sure you go into any of these communities on YouTube, they're all doing the same thing. If you're in the nutrition, if you're into
right. Yeah.
finance, if you're into investing, I mean, we know the crypto influencers, they do that. They all appear on each other's shows and stuff like that. That's how they do it. And but on Hive, we don't. It's like, as I said, I've had a couple people ask me, but not too many, and I've never turned one down. I don't think you would turn anybody down if they said, "Hey, would you mind, like, doing a Zoom call and talking about Hive or
Mhm.
CTP?" You you wouldn't turn them
Oh
down. You'd
gosh,
say,
no.
"Sure."
Yeah.
But how many people do that? And how do we get block trades on? Send them a message. Hey, you want to come on the
Yeah,
show?
I
And
mean, I know people bump heads with everyone on Hive from now and again, and there's the whale wars and this, that, and the third. But everyone I've generally interacted with, there, there's not too much pride and ego. There's a few, but generally Hive, just like you said, you approach someone, you say, hey, hang out. Let's talk about Hive. Let's talk about your project. They're very willing. They're very willing. It's,
yeah,
and I mean, obviously, it's the, I always say that Hive is the human experience on a blockchain. So you're gonna have ego. You are gonna have some people that are, that think that they're holier than thou. But generally, it's not like that. I mean, Hive, to me, I've never had issues with anyone. Other than I got my
I
first. I got a downvote last week. That was fun. A big one too. That was exciting.
I
Yeah.
other than yeah, you're getting downvotes, but anybody
Yeah.
I've invited on this show, I can't speak for you, but anybody I've invited on the show who said no, it's either because, well, I don't like talking on camera, or I don't do those things, or you know, or they say, yeah, let's do it, and then you never hear from them again. But I very rarely have gotten, I have gotten nobody who said,
Yeah.
task, not for nothing,
Yeah,
but you're
piss
a
off, right?
jackass. No,
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Yeah, piss off. I'm not gonna do your show. You're a dipshit.
yeah.
Get lost. I haven't had anybody doing that. Maybe that person's out there. Now that I said it on air, Cal will
Well,
probably say
yeah,
that
for
next
sure.
time I
Yeah,
ask him.
yeah.
But who cares
Well,
what he
same where
thinks?
Blaine's gonna say that I'm an idiot too, but that's okay. What I mean? Yeah.
What do you mean going
Already
to? He
does, yeah.
already does quite often. Where you been? I mean,
That's fair.
it's like,
That's fair. Yeah.
um, yeah. So it's I don't know. It's getting back to that entrepreneurship stuff. It's always the same thing. There's so few who are willing to do it. Jimmy Adamas is one that I use as the poster child because he's a guy who it took a little while for it to click in his head, but once it clicked, he realized this is a totally different avenue, and you can't go very long without running across Jimmy
Yeah, for
somewhere
sure.
somehow on the
Yeah.
blockchain. I mean, he's around. So that's what it comes down to, and I don't know why people. I guess everybody's just looking for that
Yeah.
shortcut.
Yeah, it takes time, and it's not glorious, man. I mean, that's the thing. The grunt work is tough. You don't get prizes for showing up every day. Down the road, you might, but like day in and day out. I mean, I don't think you show up on Leo Threads every day to hear, "Oh, Task, you're amazing." No, you show up on Leo because you believe in the project and you want to engage with people and create value. So that's not sexy though. That's people want to be told how great they are all the time. It's the nanny state, I guess. We're going back to that. Yeah.
Well, and to be honest with you, I mean, there is some of that on there, but those are usually the kiss asses hunting for, upvotes or wanting something. The people who are worth a
Mm,
damn, they're not going to sit there and telling me how amazing I am or kiss my ass or any
right.
of that. If anything, they'll say,
Get to work.
you're a
Get to work.
jerk.
What are you doing?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's, and that's
Mm,
fine. I don't do any of this stuff looking for people to kiss my ass. It's like, I'm the last person whose ass you should be kissing because I'll tell you honestly, the only thing that led to wherever I'm at now is just showing up each day and
yeah.
grinding. It's not any magical skill. It's not any magical talent. I'll be the first to admit I'm not writing award-winning content. I'm not creating award-winning videos. Hell, I don't even edit my fucking videos. I don't even know how to edit
Yeah.
videos. I
Yeah.
don't bother. I just shoot it and upload it,
Headshot. Yeah. Yeah.
compress.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah,
Mm,
I mean that's all I do.
yeah.
And it's like you could do the same thing too. I mean, it's like anybody could follow this model. This model, though, is not going to make you $1 million in the next 37 and a half
Right.
days, though. It's going to take years. And that's why I say we're in 2023. If you're starting out now, don't worry about where you're going to be next week or next month or in 6 months. Focus on
Yeah.
2028. And by 2028, you should have enough money to take care of you and your family the rest of your life if things go well within cryptocurrency. It's just really that plain and simple.
I did that blog.
And within
I
Hive.
did that blog post yesterday, and it was like kind of like it was the too long didn't read part of it was basically you know how do we make people feel valued on chain, and I had amazing comments. I mean, I think it's up to 70 comments right now. Like people really, really were offering feedback, and some people were letting out frustrations, and it was really cool. I read a comment from Boz. Boz is awesome. And he said that he's got this 5-year game plan mentality. And I told him, I'm like, yeah, dude, that's exactly the same thing I do. And Tass talks about this all the time. But what happened after my first 5 years is that I started thinking another 5 years down the road. It's crazy because you're always trying to think. And for me, and I'm sure for you too, I'm not looking at what's going to happen next week. I'm putting the effort in now for 5 years down the road. And then tomorrow, another 5 years. And then in 5 years, I'm going to be thinking five. Like, that's just the way I'm thinking about stacking this stuff and consistently growing it. But yeah, Boz was a great
Well,
comment.
and I would say, going back to what you're saying, I would say that's a business owner's mindset because, most business owners, they look out over whatever time period. And as they're progressing along, they have to go out even further because A, they're getting close to that initial goal. and B, because they have to expand their vision, either the product line or the markets they're going in, or the size of the company, opening up another plant, another division, another office, whatever. So you're always continually looking ahead in relation to where you are right now today. And so I think that only makes sense. And how many times do we say, if you have a Hive account, you have a username, you have your private keys, you're a
Right. Yeah,
business.
treat it as
This
such.
shit's
Yep.
monetized.
Treat it as
You know,
such. Right. That's again, I'm doing the whole. I've been talking about it for years in CTP. It's a lesson that we do in CTP. We do an entire video training course on it, and it talks about thinking of yourself as a blue chip stock. Now, blue chip stocks are not necessarily the sexiest. Now, I know you're going to say you are because you love these things. You love yourself some Tesla, but I'm thinking like, you know,
well, that's
not blue
not
chip.
blue
You know
chip.
what I mean? Like
That's a high
blue
risk.
chip is
That's a risk in
the
growth stock.
Apples,
IBM,
IBMs,
IBM,
in Canada,
Apple
the blue chip
today.
stocks are the gas companies, the pipeline
Yep,
companies, the
Exxon
the
Mobil.
grocery
You're
stores. They're not sexy,
yeah.
right? But what they do is they pay dividends. Majority of them pay dividends a couple times a year. You get your dividends because you know that people will invest in that because it's a safe bet. So if you're thinking of yourself as a blue chip stock, how do you create the image that you're a safe bet? People are not necessarily going to invest money, but they're going to invest time. They're going to invest their attention to you. They're going to read your their content. They're going to engage with you. That's how, if you're thinking like that as an entrepreneur, you set yourself up for some big things down the road because you're not looking for the fly by nights. You're not looking for the penny stocks, right? We're going stock market examples here. You're
Yeah.
it's long term thinking. I want to get the dividends every single whenever they're paid out, but I want people to feel that I'm a good investment of their time. I want you to look forward to my stuff and know that I'm going to be there tomorrow. And God willing, I'm going to be there the next week. And I'm going to be there next month. And I'm going to be here in 5 years from now. I want people to feel that their time is invested wisely with reading my content. That's entrepreneurship
Mhm.
thinking. So,
Well, and also being a holder of Hive, being a holder of Leo, being a holder of CTP, you are also showing dedication to those platforms or
right,
ecosystems and helping to make them more valuable. And I think that's very important. I think that's overlooked because that's where the network effect kicks in. That's where the value of this stuff
right,
accrues from. And so the idea of, and I've written about it, you've written about it. You want to be successful on Hive. Prove prove that you're one of the most dedicated people to
yeah,
Hive. Put everything, and what you said was in Vim. It's not easy, but if you put all your excess time in, and I don't say spare time because nobody has spare time, but you put part-time work
yeah,
in, you put yourself full tilt into Hive, you will get rewarded in the long run. It may take you a while to get noticed by Asidio. It may take you a while to get noticed by They Call Me Dan. It may take you a while to get noticed by me or John or Eliana or whoever, but it can
mhm,
happen, and it does over time. And that's something that this it, maybe we'd do better, John, if we sold this for 40
well,
HBD a
dude,
pop.
let's be brutally honest.
The secret to success on
Pe-
Hive, 40
people
HBD. Send
people are
today.
tuning in because I tweeted out earlier that, and I put it on Threads, that we are revealing our 7 secret steps to mastering MetaMask, and it's a limited time offer. You just got to pay the gas fees for us to send you the PDF. Uh, so yeah, we've launched it. Obviously, that was joking around, but yeah, like what's so funny is that you mentioned this, and it's this thing that's been like just pumped into my head for 20 plus years of being an entrepreneur. Consistency is the key. It is not. It's not a secret. It's not a secret formula. There's nothing to buy. It's literally show up and when you don't feel like showing up, that's when you show up some more. And when you really don't feel like showing up, that's when you continue to show up. And it's frustrating. And you make comments and no one engages with you. And it's just this, just, oh, you're like, oh, it's just spew coming out of people's mouth that you hear. Do this and you're going to get success. I'm nothing either. Task was nothing joining this blockchain. There's a reason why Task is the number one rewarded guy on Hive right now. It's not because, no offense, I love your articles and I love your videos, but you're not writing, Stephen King novels here. I mean, you are basically passionate about something, but you've stuck with it consistently over time. And what Cal made a great post yesterday or the day before, and I forgot the funky scientific, really smart guy title he called it, but it was basically immersion. Immerse yourself in what you have a passion for. If you are passionate about crypto, follow the crypto thought leaders. Talk about it all the time. Watch the TED Talks. Buy the books. Read the blogs. Watch the YouTube videos. Upload the stuff on 3Speak. Whatever. It's just immersion. But you got to do it consistently. That's the thing. You can't just do this for like 2 days and go, where's my money? Yes.
Yeah, and with crypto, because everything's being monetized, you could do it with whatever you're passionate about. If you're passionate about photography, well, like it too, and find the groups on Hive that center around photography and the travel blogs and all that stuff. It's big and it's good stuff. And if your stuff's not up to snuff, well, go there and learn and immerse yourself and be a part of it and help it grow.
Yep.
I mean, there's many different avenues, but it's we come back to we'll quote the one of the greatest quote masters of all time, Yoda.
Yes.
There is no try.
Do or do not.
You know, and unfortunately, most people don't even get to the try. They jump right to the do not. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that. Well, fine, shut the hell up, go to your job, complain about your boss, remain underpaid, and be miserable. And I don't care how wonderful your job is. According to studies, and I was in the corporate world a long time, 80% of Americans hate their jobs. And I can tell you, showing up to an office every day and having to answer to somebody sucks. And even if you own your own business, in most instances, you answer to somebody. That's called your customers. And a lot of times that's worse than answering to a boss, because at least then it's just one person. Your customers are a bunch of lunatics. And, I remember the owner of the company I worked for, he said, listen, I'm the only person here who can't be fired and I can't quit. He couldn't do either. He was stuck. And when he sold out, he made a boatload of money, but he put a lot of years in of 12-hour days, 5 days a week, plus, half a day on Saturday. And that was his, and I'm not talking for a year or two, for decades. He did this for a decade and a half. He did it. Okay, well, that's commitment. And he walked out with, probably mid seven figures. But it was a lot of commitment. Here we're saying play around online and, you may not become a millionaire, but you'll make a lot more than you will on Twitter.
You gave me a good idea for a blog post. I'm writing it down so I don't forget it. I'll probably write it tomorrow, or I'll just take pictures with Like2, because I can do that on Hive. It's beautiful. Like, this is here we go. This is official. You don't need to buy anything, but we are going to give you guys, you're listening to this, the secret to success on Hive, in business, online business, social media, whatever. We're going to give you the secret to success. Show up tomorrow. And then tomorrow, guess what the secret is? Show up tomorrow. And every single day, just keep showing up, and magic will happen.
Well, and you got
we'll all encompass it. I was trying to be really smart and savvy with just calling it show up tomorrow, but showing up includes actually doing something. So show up and put in value. Show up and make some comments. Show up and create some content. Show up and, like, my goodness, get on Threads for everything that's good in like unbelievable how Hive does not completely embrace it. Leo embraces it. Leo people get it. We should all be threading daily. We should all be using Sting Chat daily. Big shout out to Peak D and Sting Chat. I'm liking it. I just wish more people would use it, but that's a that's a that's a frustrating thing I've noticed is getting people to adopt new things is because we're getting comfortable. We're creatures
Oh,
of habit, right?
yeah. Well, and then the problem is we complain when what somebody else adopted early takes off, and it's like they were so
Right,
lucky.
right, yeah, yeah,
Well, you're the jackass who sat on Twitter all for a year while everybody else was, dealing with the technical hiccups with
yeah.
Threads. Well, I mean, there was one girl, one woman. She said, "This is my first power up of Leo, my first stake in Leo." It was like 20 Leo or something. She said, "I got it from Threads." It's like, keep showing up. I'll keep giving you more Leo every time I see you. I'll upvote your stuff. I mean, she puts up, she
Yeah.
engages,
Yeah.
you know, and
Sorry, go ahead.
well, I mean, and that's what I'm upvoting now. I mean, Leo Threads got spammy, so I'm not upvoting. You want to take and just, there's people who's all they do is just post their own
Right.
content. It's like, well, I'm not upvoting that. And then odds are I won't even go upvote the article
Did,
then.
did,
And it's like
did you see
engage,
did you
engage.
see
And I don't mind it. Like John, when you throw up your articles, I don't mind that because you also
right.
engage. So it's not like if I look through your threads, it's not like 7 articles and then 1 comment. I mean,
I
it's
try to
like,
be witty.
maybe
I
one.
try to be witty on Threads, I
Well,
don't try to take it too serious, but you got to have some fun.
well, you're an experienced
Oh yeah,
tweetster,
tweets
so
through.
you know how to do this stuff. Some of us are relatively new to it.
I thought before we wind the show down, we could take some time to talk about Sting Chat a little bit more because we said we were going to do that on Tuesday. Morton brought up a really good point, and it was kind of thinking the same way I'm thinking. Imagine if something like Sting Chat had a layer 2 token that like rewarded people for doing something on it. You could tip on it or something like that. You think something like that would help Hive people get more involved in it?
Why Leo Threads has a layer 2 token for people to get rewarded, and they're all sitting on Twitter.
So we'll stay
So,
on Discord basically. Doesn't yeah.
well, I mean, it's who Eric talked, a Nomad Soul talked about something that didn't he mention something when we were on his show about maybe incorporating that into Leo somehow, some way into Threads.
Yeah,
I seem to
dude,
remember.
everything I'm doing now and bugging Blaine about is thinking how can we integrate all of these things into our stuff. That's all I'm thinking these days.
Well, I would say one of the first things I'm going to be curious to see who is the first group community that said, okay, we shut down that general chit chat uh, thread, that general chit chat
Yeah.
Discord. It's now on Sting Chat. See us on Sting Chat. You can still have like technical questions or something like that if you have it, customer service stuff, things of that nature. But you know, you get these general chit chat, and what's going to happen is the group that does that, all those people just migrate to another Discord room and chit chat over
Right.
there. Is what my guess is. But yes, I think it's imperative for these different platforms, for different applications, different project teams, to look at what other teams are building, especially if it's open source, like from the Peak D open source community. I forget what they call themselves, but anyway, it's not really Peak D, but it is. They're funded by the DHF. They are creating open source stuff. Other projects should incorporate it.
Yep.
And maybe there is no way to fully incorporate it into your application, but at least you can support it. At least you can take. And the nice thing about that, I think the nice thing about that Sting chat is that your community's already
Yeah.
set up. If you've set one up on Peak D, so just a matter of going over, clicking on CTP, and joining that, and
Sign in
then
with
there's a room
keychain and
there.
you're good to go. All right.
Yeah. So I think you're on the right track by bugging Blaine and taking his ira and have him call you bad names,
Which he does. Yeah.
which he doesn't have to be pissed off at
Yeah.
you to do
Yeah.
either. By the way, because I think that's a smart thing to do. It's either you're Web 2.0 or you're Web 3.0, and everybody says, well, we got to go out for outreach. And it's like, okay, how's that working? If we had Leo Threads doing 10,000, 15,000 threads a day, what would that look like then if you throw I'll admit, I told Cal this. I said it's getting closer. I didn't tell him, I threaded it. It's getting closer, but there's still a few things that need to be done. Getting the following this week was big, or last week, whenever he put it in. But there still needs to be some other things put in before, and this is where I've asked you. You spent so many years on Twitter. To me, the barometer, the threshold, is when Leo Threads matches your experience for most of your tenure on Twitter. I know lately there's been a lot of things they've added, changed things up, spaces, stuff like that. Okay, newer additions. But when did you join Twitter? Like 2010?
Nope, way before that. May of 2008.
So did really much change from 2008 to 2000, let's say 17, in terms of the features, the base features?
I mean, well, when it first started, you had to update your tweets with a text message, but that lasted a year, and then it went web, right? But back then, that was how you used it. It wasn't even a year; it was literally like a couple months.
No, but once it went to the web and you got past the MVP, did it change? No, Twitter's basically been the same. So the thing to me is, if we can get Leo Threads technically to the point where it matches your user experience for most of that time, then you have a viable product, and then you can look at adding the Web3, and you can look at more features. I don't know how hard it would be to do a Spaces or whatever, but even if you don't go that route of audio, there's a lot of other things to do.
For sure.
But I think that's where it's at.
Dude, can you believe we did 2 episodes this week of us just talking about Hive?
Unless we get some guests, we're going to have a lot more of that. Maybe we do need to put up a
question next week.
Post. Maybe try to put it in your tickler file for Sunday. Make that your Sunday.
I will write it down on my whiteboard to make some questions, because we haven't done that in a couple of months now. So
yeah. No, well, since we went to this new time, neither of us adapted well, and it's tougher to get guests because
Europe, it's middle of the night.
Yeah, it doesn't line up as well.
We'll set up some questions for next week, but maybe we'll revisit the time schedules too. Again, that totally has to change and adapt to eventually my schedule, which, as I'm going to be on the road again, I don't know where I'm going to be where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I mean, what truck stop will John show up at? I'm looking forward to that. I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to just being in Tulsa, Oklahoma one day, and like showing up, and we'll do one live. I'll come to Florida.
Well, how the hell are you going to get in and out of the good old US of A?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a problem. That's going to be a problem, but we'll figure it out. Guys, thank you for.
I mean, if you're going to Tulsa, Oklahoma, I mean, if you're just going to drive back and forth in Canada, that's fine.
There you go. Perfect. Guys, thank you for checking us out. Go power up some Hive. Go engage on Hive. Don't kill unicorns when you don't.
Use Leo Threads.
Please.
I got upvotes. If you engage on threads and I see it, I'll upvote your stuff.
There you go.
Give you some threads more than once a day. I probably voted. John didn't even post that much today. He probably got 4 or 5 votes from
Thank
me.
you. Appreciate it. Toodles.